walked in with questions. Some were raised in the pew. Some were searching for mercy. Some just needed the truth.
Well, hey guys, this is Michael Kopp with Different Pews, Same Promise, and I'm coming to you today to talk about a opportunity that I got to be a part of out in Omaha. We had 50 different people out there in June to talk about a big thing called HODOS. The opportunity we got to listen, pray, dream, and help plan the first national Lutheran Young Adult Gathering. Okay, we all came from different places, different churches, different kinds of ministry, which actually ties into exactly what I'm doing very well. But one of those 50 people was my roommate, Toby. And he'll get an opportunity in just a second to introduce himself. But just welcome to Different Pews, Same Promise, Toby, and opportunity to talk about real people, real stories, different walks of life, all centered around the same promise, which is Jesus Christ. So, Toby, welcome to the podcast. I'm glad we finally get to have this conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, before we get serious, though, I've got to ask, after spending several days with me as a roommate in Omaha, what kind of roommate grade do I get here?
Oh, a definite solid B plus A minus.
Okay,
Fantastic. Because the funny thing is we weren't in the room together all that much. I mean, I think sleeping at night. So yeah, it was actually pretty chill. I would say you were awesome. Yeah.
Okay, well that's good. You know, that's
I got to
good.
hear a little bit about you too and your story, and so that was actually really cool too.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome week actually. I had such a great time there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. That campsite was.
Oh yeah,
man,
no,
gosh,
that was so cool being able to do it there and having that whole hotel to the group was pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
So, it was pretty neat.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, so Toby, if you don't mind, you just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're at, what you're doing in ministry wise and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So I am the youth and family director here at Holy Trinity Lutheran Church in Edmond, Oklahoma. We're a suburb of Oklahoma City. But I'm also tag teaming with our senior pastor here about starting a young adult ministry, which we have. We're kind of in the early stages of it, but it's been on a very high upward tick of momentum, and we're super excited for this. And that's why I was invited to come to the HODOS thing, because I met Zach at the Phoenix Best Practices Gathering early in February. And so both my pastor and I talked to him about our passion about getting this started, especially in our church, but not only for our church, but for the region itself, Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas. So
yeah, I mean, it's a big need right now.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely one of the highest things that and this is what kind of speaks to my story is when I was in high school, I belonged to the Lutheran Church. But then when I graduated high school, it kind of felt like there was nothing for me there. And so I gravitated to a non-denominational church at that point. And so I definitely think that there's this gap that happens, even happens sooner than high school's over sometimes, where we have this gap between middle school and basically college and then adulthood, where we're just kind of missing this opportunity to church this next generation.
Yeah, it's definitely a need. I actually just had an opportunity. I've been slowly kind of kicking off some stuff, and I was actually thinking about doing a young adult thing before I'd even heard about HODOS, and I actually just watched Zach Zender's Red Letter Challenge podcast quite a bit, and him and Tim Allman and a couple other guys podcasts just to see how things are going in the LCMS, and I got in through that. But since I started this, and since we did all that stuff out in Omaha, I have been trying to amplify my social media presence and stuff too, and to try and just get more, get the word out there even more. And I've got some interesting ties to fitness and stuff like that, and so I've been trying to push the envelope in a different direction as well. And an old student of mine from like 13 years ago, she is now 23, and she reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I don't really have a church. I don't have a pastor." Because she saw my social media stuff, and she's like, I've got a group of about 7 of us, and we're all in that 23, 24-year-old range, and we just don't have a church home. we don't have any of this or that. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, dang. So I actually just this past week had an opportunity to go to her engagement party, and her and her parents asked me if I would officiate her wedding. And then out of that, I'm actually not this Sunday, but next Sunday, the 9th, am doing our first young adult Bible study through our
Oh, that's
church.
awesome.
And so like 7 of them are coming, and I've got a few from the church that are coming, and I'm trying to get, two roads to meet and get them to come to the church and get the church to come and hang out at
Right.
the Bible study. So yeah, it's just a need everywhere.
Yeah, that's great. That's great momentum too. Yeah, we're kind of experiencing something similar to that, where we had actually two young men in our church that wanted to do it and wanted to lead it, and they're like, we were just so my pastor and I are just like, we want to let you do that. If that's
Yeah.
your passion, that's what you want to do. We're here to walk alongside you, so we can resource you, we can give you the encouragement. But yeah, that's what's really cool to see that, and that's where we had a meeting yesterday. They've actually designed this leadership board already, where they want to have different people leading in different areas, like it's missions, fundraising, Bible study, the financial event coordinating. It's kind of like, man, these guys are passionate and they're put together. So it's kind of cool to see this younger generation starting
Yeah.
to figure things out and being hungry to figure it out and stepping into that passion for sure.
Well, I think I mean, even as we talked more throughout that week in Omaha, and I think the more studies I've done, the more things I've looked at, and even the more young adults I've talked to, is they want to be in the
Mhm.
mix of everything, not just the mix of everything, but they want to be on the helping hand, ground floors of a lot of stuff. And it makes total sense. You get out of high school and you get to go do your thing in college. You finally get a sense of uh, ownership of your own opportunities,
Mhm.
right? Whereas,
Right.
when you're coming in high school, you're still part of the fam. You're still got to do what mom and dad say. You got to
Right.
do all that
Exactly.
stuff. And now you got an opportunity to be a leader. You got an
Absolutely.
opportunity to have your own ideas put out there, and more and more that's what's happening. And I think uh, it's one of those things that they want to know not only that they're needed, but that they're supported and that they
Absolutely.
have like the support of somebody that's going to let them lead and let them do some things and let them jump into the ministry itself in many ways.
Yeah, and
So
that's literally what we're here to do. Is because I mean, gosh, we've walked a mile in their shoes.
yeah,
I venture to say that I'm fairly old compared to them now. I'm basically double their
yeah,
ages now, and so that's kind of weird to think that. But yeah, walking a mile in their shoes, going through the things that we've gone through, my pastor and I, that we can help them, give them ideas, give them maybe some inspiration of things that they're not thinking of
right,
because of the lack of birthdays compared to what we've had. And so we are very excited to, again, to just be that hand holding of like, hey, we're not going to do it for you, but we'll give you ideas and we'll let you run with it, and then
yeah,
we'll resource you in the best way possible. And that's what I love about this next generation, especially like teenagers and probably these young adult, early 20s, mid 20s. Their passion for not only growing in the word and being in the word, but their passion for serving others. I've seen such this big heart for people that want to serve other people. They want to jump in, they want to volunteer, they want to go out and into the community. And so that's I think a huge difference from what I'm seeing in this younger generation to even in my generation and to this older generation. I didn't have that passion for that when I was that age. So that's
no,
it's really encouraging.
it is. And they're kind of, I mean, we're at a prime time for uh, really reaching them to help move the not only the church but to move God's kingdom, because they're looking for that. They're coming back to it. They're flocking back to faith systems like Lutheran, even
Hmm.
Catholic, even more, because they're looking for truth more and more and more. And so something that can show them that, like a system like Lutheran
Hmm.
traditions, is
Yeah.
huge right now. And
Yeah.
so they're seeing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that depth, I would say,
Yep.
the depth
Yeah, that's a
of the
good
word
way to put it.
is exactly where they're just not. they can go to any church. I mean, gosh, in Oklahoma, there's a church, it seems like, on every street corner. And so they
Yeah.
can go to a church and get a good word and get entertained. But it kind of leaves you wanting more. So that depth is
Right.
something they're definitely craving. And I'm very excited to see that. And so because I didn't have that journey. I went to the
Yep.
what looked good. This like, oh, you can do church this way. And so it took me to be in my 40s to kind of get back to that. Oh yeah, you know what? I was missing this. And so I love it. I love it. The early 20s, they're figuring it out a lot quicker
I
than I did
know.
in my
Yeah.
40s, right? I'm kind of jealous,
I
but at the
feel
same
that.
time, you know what? It's a good thing to see, and it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, exactly. And in the life experiences that we've gone through, it's something now that we can help and uh even impress upon them the necessity for that relationship, for
Right.
the need for going to a church and finding that church community that you need to be a part of, that not only feeds you but feeds others. We've been doing a big study on Second Thessalonians in my adult Sunday school class, and that's been one thing they've kind of grasped onto is the man of lawlessness, or the antichrist in a sense, and then also the need for the church family, and like
Hmm.
the need, and the way Paul's talking to the church in Thessalonica, and it's just it's interesting to see that, because these young adults, they want that
Sure.
connection and that community, and that's exactly what Paul was preaching about. We need to have that.
Absolutely.
We got to have a church home, and we need to be a part of some stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah, I agree with that. And so I would even go a little bit even further of saying when kids are in high school, they're kind of going through this stage of life where they're figuring things out, but I hate to say it, but the church has kind of missed the mark over the years of like teaching the kids about, relationships,
yep,
sex, finances. The Bible is chock full of these roadmaps that teach us
yep,
how to navigate these waters. And if we're not having these conversations when they're in high school, then you're going through this young adult period of life going like, well, okay, now I just got to figure things out on my own. But then that's where I love that we're kind of grabbing this now and being like, hey, the Bible is saying this on this on this. We can do these things and figure these things out. Marriage. And then what I love about young adults kind of coming back into the church is that people can now invest into them. I tell my high school students and I'm telling young adult students, find people that are gone through this stage of life already and just walk through them with you. Like find a couple that's been married for 40 years and ask them, hey, we just got married or we're getting married. Could you walk us through things?
what
Mentor
it
us.
took. Yeah,
Exactly. I mean, the church, and if people are willing to give that, then my gosh, think about this next generation and then the next generation after that. If, I mean, gosh, you see this in the Bible all the time where the older people are investing into the younger people, and it just kind of goes from generation to
that's all the
generation.
time,
And
actually.
so,
Yeah,
exactly.
Paul's preaching that in the book of Second Thessalonians. He's talking about that directly, that men need to
Right.
mentor younger men, and women need to mentor younger women. And I mean, that's
Right.
exactly right. It's just something that's there. And I think a lot of times, yeah, being in a Lutheran school teaching setting for over 17 years, you see it all the time. They don't want to talk about those hard issues because they think
Right.
that the family should talk about it. And it's like, yeah, yes, you should
Yeah.
be talking about it in the family. But if the family's not talking about it and the church is not talking about it, who's going to talk about it? Oh yeah,
Exactly right.
social media. Oh yeah, all of the outside terrible influences these kids
Right.
have are the ones talking about it. And so they're learning
Right.
these things from terrible sources because everyone's afraid to talk about them. So,
Absolutely. We're all learning something from somebody at every
yeah.
single point of our day. We're all
Yep.
learning something from somebody. So, do you want your kid to be learning from the word of God and people that are around them that are godly, or do you want the social media? Do you want the news? We're all being taught something. We're all following
Right.
something. And I love what you said there, because if the church is not going to tackle these hard topics, like either it's going to go unnoticed and people are going to figure it out for themselves, and that's when you're going to slip and fall all the time. And so I have a friend who actually is a pastor of a church around the Dallas area in Arlington, Texas, and they came up with a concept called a hospital church many years ago. And so what they really teach is this hospital model of like the church is meant to be a hospital for the sick, the broken, and a place to be healed because
Right.
Christ calls us to be healed. And so if we're not if we're not digging to the root of the problems, then the root will just continue to fester, and you're just basically putting a band-aid on a bullet wound.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we see way too often. And then these young adults are coming back and being like, wow, this stuff really didn't take with me in high school, or I didn't get this, or I didn't get what I needed. I didn't learn anything through these situations. Because if you don't have anyone mentoring you, you're not going to learn anything. You don't have people
Exactly.
stepping up and doing the stuff they need to. You're just, you're going to, and then once you figure it out, you're going to have, a tad bit of resentment for not learning it. And then you got to work around that too.
Exactly right.
'Cause I
Exactly right.
mean, I've
Something
been
so
there too.
simple. Yeah, we did a series with the high school students on financial stewardship
Yeah.
back in April, tax season. I was like, why not tie in tax season with
There you go.
finances?
Yeah.
And so it just opened their minds up because they've learned about because I brought in two people in our church that are financial. This is literally what they do for a living. They're financial people, and pouring into that next to the younger generation of like,
Right.
start now when you're young, build the habits today that are going to.
Did I lose you? Uh-oh. Toby, you there?
So I hope
There
that
you go.
more churches get involved with pouring into to the younger age kids, and not only that, but also just a biblical teaching too, because I mean, we're seeing this around the country. We're seeing this revival of younger age people that are wanting to learn more about Jesus, and they're wanting to dive in more, and they're wanting to get involved more.
Oh yeah, big time. And they want to. I mean, I guess
Yeah,
got so much passion for it right now, which is awesome. And if you can find those kids and, or I should say, young adults, and get
the
them
kids to us.
plugged
I mean,
in. Yeah, I know kids to us exactly. Get them plugged in, and uh, it's wild. But so I was a big fan of the talk and the things that went on in Omaha, based around
Mhm.
trying to get those young adults to lead, trying to get those young adults to just take ownership and stretch it. And it's just something that
Yeah,
the churches need to be doing more too. And right now, I know it's just tough. Like we're in not a small congregation, but we're not necessarily big. I mean, we church about 200 on a Sunday and two services, and we just don't have a lot of young adults. And I mean, in all
yeah,
honesty, the young adults we have are like once a month goers. So it's just kind of trying to figure out new ways to not just bring them back, but help them realize that not only are they needed, they're wanted, and let them cultivate some stuff with it. But
for sure. Yeah, I definitely think you're on the right track with the social media thing. That was probably the biggest takeaway of all the classes that we kind of took during that week in Omaha was that social media class we had. That was fantastic.
yeah, I liked
It
that one
opened my
too.
eyes big time. It opened my eyes big time.
Yep, I
And
was looking at that too.
if we're not leveraging social media, then we're totally missing the mark. Not only on young adults, but yeah, youth as well. And so yeah, that was the one that was really just kind of eye opening.
Yeah, for sure. I agree, and that's kind of a lot of what I learned from him and even took from him. I have been kind of taken to what I'm doing and trying to hope, just whatever it is, the small things. But I've always been big into powerlifting, and so I've just been kind of jumping back into that and trying to plug into a different network to share that word. So we'll see how
I've
it
never
goes.
done the powerlifting
Yeah.
thing. I mean, is that what is that all about?
Well, so yeah, it's the idea behind powerlifting is to lift as heavy as you possibly can in bench press, deadlift, and squats. And so right now, just the other day, I posted two different reels. One of me squatting 405, deadlifting 425, and bench pressing 365. And so,
Holy Moses!
yeah, my hope is in the next 10 to 12 weeks, I'm actually going to do a what they call the Rogue 1000 challenge. So you're trying to do one rep on all three of those, and the poundage would add up to 1,000 pounds. And I'm
Oh
actually
my gosh!
shooting for 1250. My hope is to deadlift right at 500, squat 425, and then bench press 365, all within 1 hour
Oh
of
wow!
time. So, but
Well,
yeah,
my age, I can't do the powerlifting anymore. I
yeah,
basically they always tell me to do lighter weights, more reps. Your
yeah.
body
That's
can't handle the heavy anymore.
I will say my body at 42 doesn't handle the basketball much anymore. I've been playing summer league at another church, and man, I played last night and my knees are hurting.
Mm.
Like, man,
I was
the
gonna say I'm
conditioning's
missing
not
cartilage
bad.
in mine, so yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
conditioning wasn't bad, but when I woke up this morning and I could barely get out of bed because my knees hurt so
Well,
bad.
that just happens in general. Yeah, I
I
was gonna
know,
say
right?
I could basically walk up and down the halls here at church and be sore the next day.
Oh,
So
I know it. I
yeah,
know it.
that's
So,
hilarious.
well, what do you think
Yeah,
of
man.
that
Yeah, I was
that
gonna say.
that
Oh,
move
go ahead.
LeBron made, huh? Going to
Oh
Philly.
my gosh. Well, I get it. To me,
Yeah,
so here's the funny thing. So being in Oklahoma City, I lived through the Kevin Durant
right.
situation. So
Yep.
people lost their minds. I get it. It was not the best for us. I don't think the leaving part was the problem. It was the team they went to. And so I get it now for him. He's 40, was he 40, 41 now? He's like, man, I just want to go play where I don't have to carry the load and I can win. It's like,
Yep.
okay, I get it now. Now, me being saying this, I am a Jordan guy.
Yeah, me too.
I always think he's going to be the number one all time. And I know it's unpopular, but I also say Kobe is number two.
Oh, I agree. I'm that
And
way as
and
well.
I would
One,
almost
two. I
and
was,
I'm kind of I'm well, I'm torn on Kareem and LeBron at three, to be honest with you,
yeah.
because people sleep on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar because it's like that dude didn't lose in high school, college, and then he won like 6 championships in the NBA.
Oh, and
And
that they were.
so,
I was actually
yeah,
looking at a stat yesterday that was showing the greatest centers throughout the decades, and on that chart, I think Kareem was the only one that showed up like 9 different times. Yeah, for
yeah,
being the greatest across like 15
for sure,
years. I was like, man,
yeah.
that guy was unreal.
I was gonna say
Just
people
a
sleep on
different
him
character.
because that. I mean,
Yep.
he won 3 years in a row in college. He
Yep.
won 3 championships in a row, and he didn't even play his freshman year because they didn't allow freshmen in those days. And they said that freshman team beat the varsity team that he was on, and that varsity team won a championship as well. So that was back in the UCLA days where they were winning every year.
Right.
But yeah, I'm okay with LeBron going to Philly. I would have probably preferred if he would just close his career out in Cleveland, but
Yeah, I
it
think a
is what
lot of
it
people are
is.
looking at that. I kind of half
Yeah,
expected him to go to Miami or Cleveland, one or the other, just because,
yeah,
I expected Cleveland a little bit more, but Miami, I thought, maybe just because of his ties
sure.
to ownership there,
I didn't think he was going to go to Miami because they basically gutted their roster to get Giannis.
yeah,
So I was like, well, he's probably not going to go there because again, he needs he
yeah,
needs shooters on his team.
yeah. All
He
they
needs
got
people that are
is
going to score from the outside.
Adebayo and Giannis now. Like that's it. So
Yeah,
what are
they
they gonna
basically
do?
all three play the same position, right? Yeah, they
Yeah,
all do the same thing. So it's kind of like I get why he went to Philly though. That was
yeah,
actually a pretty smart move on his part.
yeah. Smartest
Um,
of them for sure. Yeah. But it is
yeah,
interesting. I
but
was like surprised. I don't know. I still don't know if Embiid can pull off a championship. To tell you the truth, but that's just me.
I just don't. That guy, I can't. I just don't understand why that guy can't stay healthy.
I know.
And I'm an old school guy because I grew up in the '80s and '90s, and so
Yep.
out of all the things in the NBA, I hate the load management is probably my least
That
favorite thing
stuff
they do.
kills me.
I get why they do it, but I think they also don't think of the fans when they do that.
Well,
And
they
so
definitely
when
don't.
people, yeah, and so because anytime I'd ever go to a Thunder game and they're playing the Lakers or the Warriors or something like that, you would see families and be like, "This is my son's Christmas present,"
Yep.
and then Steph wouldn't play or LeBron wouldn't play, well, name whoever you want.
Yep.
And they're like, well, yeah. And so that's kind of just an awful feeling if you do that to fans, because you're like, oh, this is like a one-time thing. And that's another reason why I love Jordan. That dude never sat out of games
No,
except
not
for
only
the year he
that.
broke his foot.
Ty Lue came out and was saying some stuff just recently about how when he was playing with him in Washington for those 2 years, that he was 43, 44,
Yeah.
whatever, and he played those 2 years, and he had a
Something
bad
like that.
knee.
Yeah.
Had a
Early
bad
40s.
knee. Still scored 20 points a game and played all 82 games in a season.
Yeah.
As like 44-year-old guy.
Exactly.
Just to
It's
prove
like
a point
something.
to the Washington Wizards crew at the
Right.
time.
So I don't get how we have better medicine, better fitness, better dietary structures, and yet they play less games when
Yeah.
guys, before them would play all the games. They didn't have they flew commercial flights.
Yes.
And I mean, like, everything was worse then, but they played
Or rode
more.
buses.
I don't get that. Yeah, I don't get that. It's like,
Yeah.
you would think that it would be the opposite, that
Yep.
they would get hurt all the time because they didn't. The equipment was terrible. So something changed. I don't know what changed.
I always
but
find it
something changed.
funny when Barkley and Shaquille always talk about their first few years in the league and how things went comparatively to 10 years later.
Yeah, guys like I watch The Last Dance at least once or twice a year at some point, and so I love hearing some of the stories they were talking about, like guys smoking cigarettes at halftime and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's
or
like,
every single time on
world.
the videos you see Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan smoking cigars right after the game, like almost every single game. Or you got
drinking
Rodman
beer and stuff like that. Yeah,
Rodman jumping off to Vegas for a weekend. That guy just
going on a bender, right? Yeah.
Oh man, so crazy. Well, man,
But
Toby,
couldn't get away with it now.
No, definitely could not get away with it. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
Any last thoughts to what you saw out in Omaha, or what coming back, circling all the way back around to the ministry part of it?
Oh yeah,
you got any key moments or key takeaways from it?
I think just the cool things that I just saw was just the thing that I saw most was when I would look around the room of the 50 people that were there, and maybe my percentages might be off, but it seemed like it was over half of the people in that room were young adults.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how awesome is this that they're bringing in, old guys like me, but they're also bringing in these young kids, and I still call them kids. Don't take offense, but I mean, when you're double my age, you're a kid. So I thought that was encouraging that we have people leading it that are in that age range, because obviously we just got done talking about our different mindsets in sports of the eras we grew up in. So you have to have relevant aged people leading this mission. But the biggest thing that I saw over that entire week was not only that, but just the heart behind everybody in that room, but especially Zach's heart about trying to do something different or something new to spark or ignite this wildfire. And so I would love that. That was my favorite part, was just seeing the passion and heart behind it. And then the worship that we had on the last night for the live event, I thought that was
really cool.
It was top notch.
Yep.
Top notch worship. Well done by all. Yeah.
Yep, I hadn't been a part of anything of that magnitude in a long
Oh,
time.
okay.
Maybe even
Yes.
since
So
college, because
it
just different.
reminded me of my old stomping ground. So I used to work at a very large, probably the largest church in the United States, and that was kind of the worship that we would have, and so that definitely reminded me of that, and it was so cool to see that. It was
Yeah,
so cool to see that, and so it was cool to meet a lot of the pastors that are pastoring church, like a Tim Almond and a Zach. It was cool
yeah,
meeting those guys. And so overall, man, just that week was just cool. It was just a great week.
it
It was just a
was.
really fun
It was
week,
so much
but it
fun.
was also just yeah, it was more than just fun. It was soul refining, it was refreshing, it was cool to see the passion and it was exciting. And so
Yeah,
I hope that we are able to carry the torch over this next year and make the HODOS event even more passionate, exciting, and these young people are able to. Because here's my hope: is I hope that I'm not asked to come back, and they're asking these young adults to come back and be the leaders going forward. That we can
yeah,
hand it
for
off to
sure.
them.
Yeah, because you keep feeding. You keep feeding the next generation, and these guys take that torch and they run with it, and they make it even bigger than it was before. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's the exact hope, and that's a desire, And I mean, me right now, I'm like just whatever I can do to help, and then I'm trying to
Yeah,
get as many young adults to go as I can, so that I can hopefully show them how impactful it can be for them, and then they, like
yeah,
you said, they can take it and run with it because
absolutely.
we can get them to take it and run with it, man, it's just no telling how far it can go. So,
Yeah, we're just the card holders for right now, and they're going to be the ones that run with
right,
it and and,
right.
and make it. Yeah,
That's
hopefully
exactly
when
right.
when we're dead and gone, hopefully this thing will be going strong and
Yeah.
and this is something 50, 60, 100 years down the road they're still doing.
I know. I really do. And I think one of the greatest things that was impactful for me on that week was just the relationships built. I mean, even just us jumping on this
Yeah.
Zoom meet and podcast, and I still get a reach out from a couple of people, and the guys we golfed with that day, Aaron and
Yeah,
Aaron. I got connected with those guys, and I'm actually slotted to go on Tim's podcast in February. So it's like
that's
just
awesome.
cool connections, and then you're learning and supporting and you know trying to
Yeah, man.
push new things. So
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all collaborative. I mean, we're all trying to
exactly.
learn from each other and figure like what are people doing that are working? What are people doing that maybe aren't working that we can help them get it to work well? So that's what it
That's
should be about.
exactly right.
The body of
So
Christ is meant to support and help, and that's what we should be doing.
exactly, exactly. Well, Toby, man, I thank you so much for joining me. I'm grateful that we were able to, share the room in Omaha and share some great
Yeah,
times
man.
out there. And I'm so excited for the new friendship and the
Yeah,
collaborativeness we were just talking about going forward, and even more so what we can do to help the younger generation to push the envelope in a different way to still keep pushing that gospel out into many more depths of this world in so many
that's
ways. And
awesome,
I'm
man.
I'm pumped and excited about next July for the gathering. I'm hoping to pull as many young adults together. I'm even trying to start some funding in the church to try and get them out there in hopes that they don't have to spend too much money and still get a good group to go out there and have it be impactful to them as much as I can. But uh, I really appreciate you
That's
coming on
awesome.
here and being a part
Yes,
of it,
sir.
man. So,
I appreciate you having me.
yeah, absolutely. Uh, just super pumped, man. I really appreciate it, and just so glad. But thanks
Yes,
to all the listeners, different pews, same promise. Our stories may be different, our pews may be different, but the promise of Christ is the same. Real people, real stories, and one Savior. Different pews, same promise. Christ is always for you.
Some walked in with questions, some were raised in the pew, some were searching for mercy, some just needed the truth.